I'd like to welcome you to the Strategic Plan Data Update Workshop. And I wanted to say that Dr. Paulson is running a little bit late. He has something he had that came up, but he will be here. But we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'd like to turn the program over to Mr. Charbonnet to let us know our updates for all of our data. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Hyatt. Good afternoon, board members and Madam Superintendent and Cabinet, and thank you for the opportunity. In the last few weeks, the state has released state assessment results for the FSA and the Sunshine State Standards tests, as well as school and district grade school improvement ratings, and ESSA federal indices for all of our schools. So with all of that new data and information, I have compiled it into this presentation today, essentially following the format that we have used for previous strategic plan updates. So let's start with our district grade from the state accountability system, and this year our district improved its grade to an A. You have a spreadsheet file in front of you that shows all of the school grades and school grade trends for the last 5 years. And on the last page of that document, it also includes the district grade as well as the grading scale that's used to assign the letter grades for district and school grades. And then there's a final page that shows our schools in the district, alternative schools that don't receive a grade but do receive a school improvement rating, which is also based on student performance on ELA and math tests. So just wanted to point out that you have that document in front of you with lots of information showing you trends for every school in the district and for the district grade, so that you can refer to it throughout the presentation or to just have for your own documentation and information. So highlighting the district grade, last year our grade was a B and we received 60% of the total possible points. This year that average was up to 62, resulting in the A. The school grade is calculated based on 11 different components of student performance, and it is the percentage in each of those components and then an average of that percentage for the 11 components. So school grades are determined in the same way, although schools may have a different number of components depending on whether they're elementary, a middle, or a high school, but the same basic methodology. For the district grade, the grade is calculated using the scores and the performance of all of the students who count in that calculation, rather than looking at a school-by-school performance. It's an aggregate for the entire district, as if the district were a school itself. So all of those students are included in that calculation. So you can't look at the number of A schools, number of B schools, number of C schools, number of D schools, and arrive at the district grade. You have to take all of the students from those schools and aggregate them together and then calculate the district grade. So of the 11 components that go into the district grade, 4 of them are based on achievement. And achievement is defined as students scoring at or above a level 3 on the state assessment. So that's the achievement component. So this graphic shows 2008 in red, and 2018 in red, 2019 in orange. So you can see the change across those 2 years worth of data, so that you can see from last year our district overall achievement in English language arts increased by 1 percentage point. Math stayed at 58%, science at 59%, and social studies increased by 1 percentage point. So each of those increases contributes to the overall calculation that then leads to the district grade.
I see that.
Mr. Charbonnet?
Yes?
It's a different color.
It's a
on
different color on the handout, so instead
It is
of
a
orange and red,
different
it's
color.
orange and blue,
Yeah.
I believe?
Okay. The left is 2018 and the right is 2019. So,
Got it. I'm
With
sorry,
the-
I was confused.
okay. With the black background that we typically use for PowerPoint presentations, that doesn't Xerox well, so different colors for the Excel charts were used. Are you with me though, Ms. Roy?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I
great.
thought he has a different,
Ms. Hurd and I are special. We
you have,
You all printed out your own from the PowerPoint that I sent you, right?
yes.
I just
All
have
right.
red.
So these show the 4 achievement components. Okay. There are also 4 components related to student learning gains. So student learning gains in English language arts and learning gains in mathematics. Because the students take a state assessment in each of those subject areas annually. So you can match a student from the prior year to see if they made a learning gain in the following year. So we can only do that in language arts and math. In the other subject areas, they don't take a test every year, so you can't compare learning gains. But in these 2, we do have learning gains components. So the percentage of students making a learning gain in English language arts overall for the district, 55 each of the last 2 years. And in mathematics, 57 for each of the last 2 years. But the grading formula also gives special weight to our most struggling students. Because the students whose performance ranks them in the lowest 25% of students are regarded separately because the district needs to pay special attention to the achievement of those students. So the lowest quartile in both English language arts and in math are also included in school and district grades. So our lowest quartile in English, 40% made a learning gain in each of the last 2 years. In math, 40% last year, 44% in 2019. So that was an area where 4 additional percentage points averaged into the district grade. And those 2 areas are strategic priorities for the board that focus on and raising the achievement of the lowest quartile. So pleased to report that in mathematics, we did see the needle move with more students making a learning gain of our most struggling students. So between achievement and learning gain, that's 8 of the components. The final 3 components that go into the school grade are acceleration and graduation components. And the district had an improvement over 2018 in each of those 3 areas. So middle school acceleration is the percentage of middle school students who pass a high school end of course exam. So that increased from 80% to 83%. College and career acceleration is the percentage of high school students who are passing either a AP, IB, or ACE exam, a dual enrollment course, or earning an industry certification. And then graduation rate also an increase over the previous year. So with those 11 components averaged together got us up to 62% for our district grade, which is equal to a district grade of an A. So congratulations to everyone. So any questions or comments on the district grade portion before I move?
Just curious as to how much of a change was it this year as far as the way the state calculated the formula? Is it close to what it was last year, or are we moving the goalpost as we often do?
No, the formula has not changed in the last 5 years. So since the advent of the FSA test and the sunset of the old FCAT test,
Right.
the state has used the same calculation formula now for 5 years in a row.
That's
And you'll
good.
notice on the the Excel file that you have giving the historical school grades, that first year, the 2014-15 school year, the first year of the FSA, there were no gains components included in the calculation because it was the first year of the test, so you couldn't show gains from the prior year because no one had taken the test the prior year. So that first year was a baseline year using only achievement, but then for each of the following 4 years, it's been exactly the same formula. Okay, moving on to a breakdown of the school grades. We saw positive increases in the number of schools earning A grades and B grades. Increase of up to 7 A schools and 15 B schools. The number of C schools stayed the same, but the number of D schools went down from 6 to 3. So a positive trend to see more and more of that shifting to the left as more schools are earning higher school grades, and you have those school grade printouts there in front of you to look at as well. Okay. I wanted to highlight some of our most fragile schools that we pay a great deal of attention and resources to are our schools that are in differentiated accountability. And last year we had 6 of our elementary schools identified for differentiated accountability, all D schools, and pleased to report that 4 of those schools made significant gains. Alachua Elementary from a D to a C, Rawlings a D to a C, Terwilliger a D to a C, and Metcalf a D all the way to a B. So those schools have moved out of differentiated accountability and perform quite well. And if you will notice on the printout that you have for the school grade history, just looking at some of the components where those schools were successful, you'll see that particularly the ones that are not just a focus for the schools, but a strategic focus for the district. For example, the gains of the lowest quartile, we can see that a number of those schools are among the highest in our whole district in terms of the achievement of the lowest quartile. For example, Metcalf had 80% of the students in their lowest quartile in English language arts recording a learning gain. Terwilliger, 70% of their students in English language arts scored a learning gain. If we could duplicate that kind of success with lowest quartile students across all our schools, that would really go a long way toward achieving that goal. So that was great results for them. 2 of our schools that were in differentiated accountability last year earned D grades again this year. So Idlewild and Lake Forest remain in differentiated accountability and in their first year of their 2-year turnaround plan. And Williams Elementary's grade dropped from a C to a D this year, so they are also going to be a DA school this year, receiving considerable support and attention. But the overall number of DA schools is down from 6 last year to 3 this year.
So the first year turnaround, they have another year before they're in danger of being closed.
Yeah, a district-run turnaround plan, district-implemented turnaround plan is 2 years before
Right.
the final outcome. So let's move on to the results of the Florida State assessments and the Sunshine State Standards assessments. And the goal in the strategic plan pegs those assessments measured against how they compare to the state average for those exams. So for each of these slides, it will display Alachua County as compared to the state. Okay, so here's 4 years worth of achievement data performance for English language arts for the district. This is grades 3 through 10. on the FSA. You can see that last year, we were 57, went to 56 this year, which is where we were in 2017. The state improved from 54 to 55. We're still 1 percentage point above the state, but that achievement level has hovered around 56, 57 for the last few years. Another strategic priority is focusing on the achievement gap, and in English language arts, this shows the data disaggregated by the white students and black students, and the achievement remained exactly the same percentages for both of those races, and the achievement gap remained at a 45% gap. The math FSA test is given grades 3 through 8. So we can see again in 4 years worth of achievement. Last year we were at 56%, this year down to 55% on FSA math. Other tests also go into the mathematics component of school grade. So we have the Algebra 1 end of course exam, and we can see that overall of all the students who took that test in the district this year, the percent at level 3 declined from 60 to 56. And then I have that data split out by middle school compared to high school, because I think that's important to understand that Algebra 1 has become more normative to be a middle school class than a high school class. So we have more students taking high school Algebra 1 in middle school than we have students taking high school Algebra 1 in high school. So 54% of the students in the district who took the Algebra 1 test were actually middle school students last year. And you can see that that group passed the test at a 80% rate, scoring 3 or higher.
Mrs. Charbonnet,
yes.
Are those white students or African American students?
These are not disaggregated by
Right,
race.
but
I can
as
tell
far-
you that the majority are white students.
That take it in middle
Yes.
school? Okay,
Yes.
and the majority of African American students will still be trying to take it in 9th or 10th, 11th, whatever?
Correct.
Okay,
Because students with the highest achievement, based on their 7th grade math scores, are going to be identified to take Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. And because we know our achievement gap, that the achievement of white students is higher than black students, there's going to be more white students identified for that.
so in other words, because the gap is such a wide disparity, that's where we as district folk need to work harder with our children of color who are not being successful in middle school. Is that not correct?
Well, and that...
I'm sorry, I heard somebody say something.
I said elementary, I think we need to back it up to elementary, so when they get to middle school, they are better prepared.
Yes, these achievement gaps persist across grades. When the students first take the FSA test in 3rd grade, the gap there is as significant as it is by 10th grade.
Okay.
So it's a persistent gap and a challenging issue for us, without a doubt. So I wanted to point out that middle school students have a very high passing rate of the Algebra 1 exam, but then if you look at high schoolers who are taking high school Algebra 1, then we see a lower achievement rate for those students. So last year, 34% of the students in our district who took the Algebra 1 exam in high school passed. This year, that was 27% who took that and passed. I will point out a difference in our strategic approach to Algebra 1, because Algebra 1 is a very key, high-stakes course for our students. So not only does it, of course, count in our school grades and counts in our district data, but it's a very high-stakes course for kids because students must pass the Algebra 1 exam in order to graduate from high school. And this particular class, the students who are ninth graders in 2018-19 school year, are going to be under new requirements because when students do not pass the Algebra 1 FSA test, they can earn a concordant score by taking an equivalent test and getting a score that they can substitute for passing the FSA test. In prior years, students have had a test called the PERT that they could take and pass. Now there are new concordant scores and the PERT is no longer a possibility. So in previous years, students who didn't pass the Algebra 1 exam, virtually all of them were able to get a concordant score on the PERT and still be able to go on and graduate. So that is not an option for the students who were in last year's ninth grade class. So as they move through 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, when they graduate, they are going to have to either pass the Algebra 1 exam or earn a concordant score on the SAT, the ACT, or the PSAT, where the bar is higher than it was on the PERT exam. So I say that to point out that that is coming, and that's something that we're very much aware of as a district, that there are new concordant scores that are going to really impact our students for Algebra 1, but also for our strategy with these students. So typically students that are scoring at a level 1 or 2 in 8th grade math would go into liberal arts math in the 9th grade and then Algebra 1 in the 10th grade and take the assessment. This year, we opted to have all of those students, whether they were in liberal arts math or Algebra 1, take the assessment. Because we know that if you were a 9th grader beginning in 9th grade this past school year, that you need to pass that test. It's a high priority for you for your graduation. And so we administered that test to 466 9th graders who were not even in Algebra 1, who were in liberal arts math, and some of them passed. 28 of those students who were level 1s or 2s a year before made a level 3 on Algebra 1 this year, but all of them received score reports back, and they and their teachers have information of how well they did on the test, which standards they mastered and which ones they didn't, so that when those students then take Algebra 1 their 10th grade year, we'll have that information going in to help try to achieve a higher passing rate. Because these students are now a very high priority for us. Yes, Dr. McNeil?
Did you call on
I
me,
did,
Mrs.
yes,
Rowe? Okay, so are you saying, I probably didn't hear you clearly enough, that 28 out of 400 students?
28 out of 400 students who were not in the class.
But 28 out of 400 pass? No, that's
No,
not
ma'am,
what you're
there were-
saying? Okay, thank you.
No, I'm sorry.
Thank you. What are you saying then?
I'm saying that there were 466 students who were in 9th grade,
Yes,
students who, and all of them were coming out of middle school
yes.
as a level 1 or 2 in math.
1 or 2?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So these were students who didn't get the opportunity to take Algebra 1 when they were in middle school. They're the typical students who take Algebra 1 in high school. See, because in middle school, Algebra 1 has become almost like an advanced class, and high school Algebra 1 has become almost like a remedial class. All of the students that are high achieving, they're taking it in middle school. All of the lower achieving students are ending up taking it in high school, some of them not until the 10th grade. And by the 10th grade, if you fail that Algebra 1 EOC, then you've got 11th and 12th grade to try to retake and pass it in order to graduate.
So you did not
So-
give us a pass rate then out of all of those children from middle. You didn't give us a percentage of kids that pass. You didn't say that, did you?
I did, that's what this slide shows. that 27% of the students who took the Algebra 1 assessment who were in grades 9 through 12 passed.
Okay.
But also said about half of those students were ninth graders who were not enrolled in Algebra 1, but giving them a jump start on seeing that test and being challenged at a higher level and getting the feedback of how well they did on that test to prepare for the next year was an important part of our strategy.
Okay, I may have other questions.
Please do. Yeah.
Mr. Charbonnet?
So this was one of those cases where
He doesn't need-
rather than being more
Charbonnet.
concerned about how our numbers looked, we're more concerned about how our students do and what's ahead of them for their future. So that was the focus here. So yes, Ms. Roy?
What I was wondering is, since you tested 466 liberal arts math students who had not had algebra, it was a miracle that 28 passed, for not having had the course. But didn't that hurt our average? I mean, was it the same as the year before?
No, ma'am, it did hurt our average.
And
Absolutely.
was the same strategy used in 2018,
No, ma'am.
17, 18?
So referencing this slide, you can see that our overall achievement rate for Algebra 1 for the district declined from 60 to 56. Okay? And that was because there were students who took the test who were not even in the course.
Got it.
And I guess a better way to look at that is many of those are students who would have deferred taking the test until the 10th grade.
Got it.
But we accelerated them to take it in ninth grade because we knew that their class was going to be under a different graduation requirement.
Yeah,
We
I
wanted them to
understand
have a
that, but
chance to see that
it
test,
seems like
so.
it would be very discouraging to kids, that the great percentage didn't pass.
Mhm. Well, frankly,
And it hurt our average.
only 34% passed the year before, 27% passed this year. So achievement of high schoolers in Algebra 1 has not been high for
Got it.
several years. So, and this was not done without intent, that the teachers and students knew from the beginning that they were being challenged, that they were going to take that test, and the message was there. They took the same Ames assessments as the students who were enrolled in Algebra 1 throughout the year, and so the approach was to try to front load that first year for those students and then carry them across the line in the second year. So I think the proof of the pudding of this strategy will be if we look at next year's passing rates and see a significant increase. But that's our
I
goal.
see.
My comment on this is that I think it's a really good idea, and a really good effort, because we're using data for prescriptive reasons rather than punitive reasons. Because we're trying to find out, here's where we stand right now, and those teachers and those students will know exactly what they have to work on when they do take Algebra 1. So I think it's, if there's any good thing about testing, and I'm not sure there is, but this was a decision by the district to use it for the benefit of these kids and the teachers. So I think it's, I would say, I'm not worried about, a differential of 7 percentage points, considering, like you said, we're front-loading this experience, and we'll see if it pays off.
And in the long run, our overall mathematics performance did not take a significant decline. And in fact, the achievement of our lowest quartile in mathematics increased. So in spite of testing a number of students that had long odds on passing, the overall impact was not that negative to our numbers. And you get it, Mr. Hyatt, that's exactly right, that what better feedback do you need to prepare to take a test than having taken the test and seeing your results and where you did well and where you did poorly. So I know that. Yes, Ms. Sir.
So, Mr. Charbonnet, so is a plan being worked on now to move forward with the great majority of these students? I guess I had two questions. Is a plan being made forward to use the data that's been done to change instructional practices, you know, in the math department so that we can target those students? That's one question.
Yes, ma'am.
The second one is, have you all disaggregated this data to see, because I'm thinking the great majority of those students that are in ninth grade or 9th and 12th are students of color that are taking the test. And are we looking at that and making sure that they don't get discouraged because they didn't pass in the ninth grade, and they know that the PERT test is not an option now, and the concordance score is higher for the ACT and SAT? I guess I'm trying to make sure that there's scaffolding in place to make sure that we're really targeting and those students don't fall.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And working on the efficacy of both the teachers and the students to have confidence to do well on the test, and taking advantage of all of the feedback that we have to plan instruction and to help those kids come in positive and be successful this year. And the same strategy for geometry, because both Algebra 1 and Geometry are courses that open the gate to higher achievement for students. And so the same strategy was practiced in geometry, because all students have to earn a Geometry 1 credit in order to graduate from high school. The Geometry EOC counts 30% of their grade, and students need to have successful geometry scores as well as Algebra 1 in order to open the door into Algebra 2 and statistics and calculus and other areas in which we're trying to diversify our student success. So for geometry, again, we saw a drop for our students in high school geometry, because once again, the majority of our students who are level 3s are taking geometry in either 7th, 8th, or 9th grade, whereas our students who are 1s and 2s are waiting till 11th or even 12th grade sometimes before they even see geometry. So this year we used that same strategy in accelerating them into the assessment sooner. So just to demonstrate that, here's the data broken down by middle school versus high school. So our middle school students who took the geometry exam, 99% of them made a 3 or higher in middle school. But our high schoolers who took the geometry exam, only 45% of them scored a level 3 or higher. But again, these were over 500 students in informal geometry who were on kind of a 2-year cycle of taking geometry. Informal geometry 1 year, and then regular geometry the following year. So this year we had all of the students in informal geometry go ahead and take the exam, even though knowing that it may hurt our district-wide data, it's going to give us feedback to help plan instruction for those students. So fewer students passed the exam, but 44 of them did pass the exam. But we have feedback and information for planning instruction for the others going into this year. So again, we're hoping that more students will be able to get into higher levels of mathematics before they leave high school, rather than only achieving Algebra 1 and geometry, because that's not going to get you college ready. So these kids have to be able to get into higher levels of math, and we've got to expect that in order to move that needle for more of our students. Ms. Sir.
What's the course sequence for informal? Where does informal geometry fit in with that? 'Cause I'm trying to figure out, my kids had geometry in the 9th grade because they took the algebra in the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that go if you were a student who had liberal arts math in the 9th grade? Would you then cycle into Algebra 1 and then informal geometry and then regular geometry? Is that what would happen?
Yes, ma'am. Students that are coming out of 8th grade as a level 1 or 2, the sequence would be to go into liberal arts math and then Algebra 1. Okay? If they do not score a level 3 or higher on the Algebra 1 assessment, then they would go into informal geometry and then geometry the following year. If they do score a level 3 or higher on Algebra 1, then they'd go directly into geometry. So this process of accelerating more of these students into what you would expect to be the typical grade level course rather than into more remedial 2-year sequences of courses as part of our strategy in communicating that expectation to students, to teachers, to parents, to everyone, that we've got to own this challenge of having more kids being able to get into higher levels of math and being college ready before they graduate from us in the 12th grade.
So, Mr. Charbonnet,
Yes,
we don't even talk, I don't even know if it's, I guess they still offer Trig and Cal, but I don't see anything outlining that, or it's no need because of
Well, there are no state assessments.
no state assessment. But students can still take it if they want to.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. So then, all of these exams aggregated into mathematics performance will then be disaggregated here by race. So you can see white students on the left, black students on the right, and the achievement gap here. For both white and black students, there was a decline, 3 percentage points for white students, 2 for black students. The achievement gap got slightly smaller, but still a significant gap for white and black students in achievement, in math. Okay. 5th grade science, the district achievement level, students levels 3 or higher, has been at 55% for each of the last 3 years. And slight fluctuations in the achievement of students. White students went up 1%, African American students went down 2% on the 5th grade achievement gap. Looking at 8th grade science, we've seen a 4-year increasing trend in student performance on the 8th grade science test. So at 54% this year, well above the state average for 8th grade science. And both white and black students increased by 1 percentage point in the percentage of students scoring level 3 or higher in 8th grade science, but keeping the achievement gap the same. The biology EOC, again hovering in the mid-60s, from 68 to 65 this year. See a decline in both white and African American students. The overall test performance dropped by several points, and that's reflected in the racial breakdown as well, and still that persistent achievement gap remains across biology as well. Then on to the components that make up social studies. This is civics EOC that our students take in the 7th grade, and that was consistent at 69% over each of the last 2 years. When disaggregated by race, we see a slight change in the achievement gap. White achievement decreased by 1 percentage point. African American achievement remained the same on the civics test. The other component for social studies is the U.S. History EOC. Most of our students take in the 11th grade. 71% last year, 70% in 2019. White student achievement up by 1 percentage point, black student achievement down by 1 percentage point, with the resulting change of 2% in the achievement gap. So Those are the assessment results. Those are big data with thousands of students included in those areas. We still have our goals ahead of us for raising that achievement, particularly the achievement of our African American students. Another area of accountability that's important for all of us to understand is ESSA, the Every Student Succeeds Act that we refer to as ESSA. I reported some baseline data to you on our ESSA Federal Index back in March. So we have the updated data now from last year's performance. The Every Student Succeeds Act, this is federal legislation. This is federal accountability. And this act replaced or updated the No Child Left Behind Act previously. So this is the next iteration of federal legislation. And the key piece to understand about ESSA is that every school receives a federal index, which is another kind of school rating, another piece of data about schools. And that federal index is given to virtually every school, whether you receive a school grade or not. So charter schools, DJJ schools, alternative schools all receive an ESSA federal index. And that index is also broken down for each of 10 subgroups. So those subgroups include all of the federal race and ethnic categories, as well as economically disadvantaged students, students with disabilities, and English language learners. So the ESSA rating does not vary much at all from the school grade. It has all of the same components of the school grade, one additional component for English language learners. But the difference about the ESSA plan is that essentially this index is calculated within each school for each subgroup. So you get your overall ESSA index, but then each subgroup within the school gets its own. So it's sort of like if the entire school were just the Hispanic students, what would their grade have been? If the entire school were just the African American students, what would their grade have been? So it takes into account not just achievement, but also gains and graduation rate and acceleration and all the things that go into school grade, but customized by school for each subgroup within the school. So this is important because schools will need to address their ESSA subgroups in their school improvement plans. And they'll be bringing their school improvement plans to you all for school board approval in just a few months. And you'll be seeing their strategies for how they're going to tackle their ESSA subgroups that need attention. So let me continue with this overview for ESSA, that schools can be characterized for ESSA accountability into two different categories. So the first is a comprehensive support and intervention, or CS&I. So these are schools where the overall federal index is below 41%. So that 41% probably sounds familiar because that's the school grade cutoff for making a C. So if your ESSA rating is below 41%, then that would be the equivalent of making a D. Okay? Or if your graduation rate is at or below 67%. So schools that are in comprehensive support and intervention, their school improvement plans are approved not only by you all as the district school board, but also by the state. Okay. The second category, targeted support and intervention, or TS&I. These are schools in which one or more of their subgroups fall below 41%. Okay. So within a school, if any of those subgroups would have earned a D or an F had they been the entire makeup of the school, then those schools are identified for targeted support. Okay. Those plans are approved by the district, and the schools have to address the performance of each of these subgroups in their plan. So for Alachua County's ESSA rating, the baseline from 2018 is shown on the left, and the 2019 performance of ratings of schools is shown on the right. So last year we had 9 schools that qualified for CS&I. This year that's down to 6. 27 for TS&I. This year that's down to 23. And schools that fell into no ESSA accountability standards. Last year there were only 2. This year there are 10. So those are good signs of progress based on our ESSA achievement. And these are the 10 schools in which each of the subgroups would have earned a C grade or higher on their own had they been the entire school. So that's a measure of the success of all of the diverse groups within those schools. Last year, the only 2 schools that had no subgroups were Hidden Oak and Meadowbrook, which are 2 of our traditionally highest achieving elementary schools. This year, 8 other schools joined them, including a couple of our former DA schools, Metcalf and Terwilliger, by raising their achievement. Of the schools that do have subgroups below 41%, I wanted you to get a feel for how many of those there are. We said there were 10 that had no subgroups, but there are 7 of our schools that have just 1 subgroup, 9 of our schools with 2, 8 with 3, and 3 of our schools have 4 of their subgroups that are below 41%. So their school improvement plans are going to be more comprehensive because they've got to address goals for each one of those subgroups when you see them. And then this is showing you which of those subgroups are falling below the 41% cutoff. And you can see that across the most schools that have a subgroup below the target, that subgroup is students with disabilities. So in 27 of our schools, their students with disabilities are below the federal target cutoff, and that's going to be a group of students that is going to be a particular focus for all of us as a district, and especially within those 27 schools. Okay. Then in 20 of the schools, the African American students, and then after that the numbers get smaller. Free and reduced lunch students in 8 of the schools, English language learners in 3 of the schools, white students in 2, multiracial in 1, and in no schools do the Hispanic students or the Asian students fall below 41%. So this is another measure, a different way of looking at the data, but I think gives us some good insights into the performance of our schools and is going to guide our school leaders to achieving that motto that's up there on the wall we're all looking at. Says we're committed to the success of every student. And so these are our students that we're going to be especially planning for their success. So you'll see that in their school improvement plans when those come to you in September. All right, so that concludes the data review.
Hey, thank you very much, Mr. Charbonnet. I'm going to open things up right now if we have any public, any comment, citizen input.
Good afternoon, Ann Katurba. Hello, board members and Superintendent Clark. Mr. Charbonnet, I had a question about how long has the sequence of math been liberal art, for the 1 and 2s, been liberal arts, math, algebra? How long has that been in place?
Years. Let me ask a friend here.
2 years? Okay, so it's a relatively new development. Okay. Because,
And that's just, sorry, Dr.
Yeah, sure.
But to clarify, that's
Okay, Mr. Charbonnet, if, and we're much looser here at a workshop than we are, so this is fine, but if you have to comment, You need to use the mic so we have it, thank you.
Sorry about that, Dr. Hyatt, you're right. The sequence has always been either Algebra 1, and if you did not pass the Algebra 1 EOC, then go to liberal arts math, and then attempt the EOC again. And in recent years, the shift has been do liberal arts math up front, and then do Algebra 1, and
But
attempt
the
the EOC
but the
again.
difference is that you weren't giving them the Algebra 1 and of course test. They
Yes,
were
not
liberal
taking the
arts
test for the first
For the
time
first time.
until at the end of 10th
Okay.
grade. Yes, ma'am.
All right, and Dr. McNeely, I know I'm not, Mr. Hyatt, I had responses to Dr. McNeely's question about disaggregation. And if these are pie charts from the last 5 years on disaggregated white and black 9th grade algebra by level, so level 1 through 5. And over the course of those 5 years, and really not much has changed except that the level 1s have increased. And so this year, only 12% of black students passed the Algebra 1 end of course exam, and there were 453 who took the exam. That's from Florida DOE data. So I just thought I would give this to you to pass out to the board members. One question that I have, and again, I guess it would be to the superintendent, is that how many of the parents understand the ramifications of this mathematical sequence? In that the liberal arts math and informal geometry are not conforming to NCAA acceptable coursework. And some of the athletes believe, I just want to make sure that the parents understand that.
The question is to,
The question is, how well informed are these families about this sequence and the ramifications for college readiness?
Who would be the right person to get with
Right,
Dr.
well, that's
Thurman?
something that's going to be done at the individual schools by the guidance counselors at those schools, especially for those students that we know are looking at an athletic track, that need to make sure that they pass the clearinghouse. We do have students that end up taking an additional math course to ensure that they are eligible and have met the criteria to pass clearinghouse. So, those are not surprise, that should not come as a surprise to a senior who's trying to get that finished, and all of a sudden, oh my goodness, I don't have enough math that passed those particular standards. That should not be a surprise, no.
Yeah, I mean, with the PERT test not being available, I mean, we had the 453 black students and a fair number of white students as well, just in 9th grade who didn't pass. I mean, they were at 76% at level 1, so that's hundreds of them. And so I just wonder what the plan is, and I worry about that just from the point of view of individual students. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further citizen input? If not, then we go to board discussion. Do I have any board members with a comment or a question for Mr. Charbonnet?
I don't
Ms. Surton?
I don't have a question a question for Mr. Charbonnet. I guess I just have one for us as board members and for the superintendent. I'm wondering, when will we have an agenda item to update our strategic plan and the metrics on that? That's one thing. And then the other thing is that given that we have 5 years of data with FSA and we see that the stagnation of the gap not really closing, it's again the same, if our district leaders and school-based administrators, are they looking at trends and what they've done in the past, the mix of initiatives, and trying to formulate an overarching agenda or strategy that we can really try to hone in to really move the needle? Because what we're doing, we're just kind of continuing to get the same results. And if we continue to do the same inputs, fund the same initiatives, buy the same product, do those things, and we're not really looking at anything that's research-based or anything different that's research-based to try to move the needle. Because I think if we just keep doing the same thing, we're gonna keep seeing that only about 25 to 30% of black students are gonna be proficient on this exam, this particular FSA exam. Any metric, that seems to be, when we're looking here, it seems that most of the black students are just kind of hovering around that particular percentage mark of proficiency. And the white students will continue to perform well. So I'm wondering if all this discussion is leading to a change in how we do things, is what I'm asking.
Superintendent Clark, did you want to comment on that now, or?
Well, I could certainly partially comment on that now. We've actually been looking even further into tracking that achievement data 5 years school by race. We're working on that. They haven't released the official, when we look at 2019, unless it's happened in the last 48 hours, some of the 19 data school by school. So that's something we have to pull school by school to look at that. And that's actually been some, and looking at some of that in a very, very preliminary, you know, we've got some schools that are moving, others that are not, and others that have regressed. I mean, it's kind of in different areas. But no, especially with some of the pots of money that we use in some of our most struggling schools, hence Title I. Title I expenditures have to be on research-based programs. So we can't just say we want to go buy, you know, whatever the Pinterest teaching tip of the month happens to be. We can't do that. But absolutely, we have to look at what's working at particular schools. It may or may not work at another school, but if we've got data to back that up, then it's certainly worth looking at other schools and scaling that out if that's certainly what those schools need by basis of the data that they have at those individual schools. So yes, we are reviewing that information. We've got some new purchases coming down from some of our schools after looking at the data that some of our schools have been able to produce this year with some new programs to them, especially with learning gains and some achievements. So we've got some schools that are now asking those questions. Hey, your school got some great learning gains. What were you using this year? Was it something different? Did you do something different with the approach, with the scheduling, with interventions? What does that look like? And we actually offer that opportunity to our principals with cohort groups. So that's the part of what that involves, is sharing those best practices with each other. Because it may be that a combination of those best practices is going to work at school A, and a different combination of those practices will work at school B. So that is a part of what we're doing right now, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Superintendent Clark. Ms. Roy?
Thank you, Mr. Hyatt. I understand you have to have a research-based programs, but I've been with my grandchildren this year, this summer, and, you know, the one going into third grade is using a program called Freckles, you know, which has geometry and algebra, believe it or not, you know, for going into third grade. And was doing some of these exercises with him, and it's a reward. There's a reward to every correct answer in the terms of points. He loved it, absolutely loved it. And then I was talking to my 15-year-old grandson, also who's with me this summer. And I know we use this Khan Academy, but he said that he learned more from Khan Academy than he did for 6 months of algebra.
And that's something we're looking at expanding, that Khan Academy, because while that's something that's available to students,
It's free.
and it's free,
Yeah.
but a lot of it is, are we relying on students to take the initiative and use that at home, or how much is it being implemented within the classroom? And so some of the work that we're doing within our equity department is really looking at how are the teachers going to be able to provide more support in that avenue, because we can't always rely on a student, okay,
Of course.
go home
not.
and here it is.
Of course not.
You know, how can we increase that level of teacher engagement with Khan, and how are we able to provide that support for the student and using that? Because as we've been able to link the PSAT with Khan, there's some good data points there that we can, target what the students really need to look at, but we've also got to provide support within the schools for that as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking within the class,
Mhm.
not at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Dr. McNeil?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dr. Katerba, I'm going to take the privilege to say thank you because we have a different kind of format of how we can speak back and forth to citizens. I'm wondering, when I look in this room, this auditorium, how many of us, you don't even need to raise your hand, but I know quite a few of us have matriculated at some point at the great University of Florida. I'm very proud to say I'm a graduate twice from UF. However, I know that the teachers and the curriculum staff, they have been really working diligently to change this around, Mr. Charbonnet. I know that they have. However, whatever we have done in the past, and the superintendent is sitting here kind of outlining some things, or she's taking notes, because I look at her stuff all the time. I peep, and to see what's being put on that paper. I know that she would invite people from the University of Florida, and you may have some right now, but you may not have enough. And I'm saying it's sort of embarrassing for me. I don't know about anyone else sitting up here, but to know that we have this eminent institution down the street, and we need more help in getting support from them. If they haven't reached out to us, shame on them. But if we have not reached out to them in a lot of ways, shame on us. Not only UF, but there are many of us who attended Santa Fe College as well. They have stellar people who are willing to assist us in this effort. Yes, it is, it's almost, I don't know what you would call it, an albatross on my back when I go to state meetings, or I hear from the state board last Tuesday that I watched all day long about how these different districts are moving certain children. Well, we know, we've acknowledged now that our gap is significant. But how does that change? I cannot say enough about the teachers who work diligently every single day with all children, not just children of color, but all children. But the matter of the fact that you have come this afternoon to share all of this data, but you couldn't leave out some of the pieces that we probably didn't want to really know about, it's here. You put it in color for us. And I thank you, Mr. Charbonnet. It just makes us look at it differently and to say, we've got to surround our teachers, administrators, the curriculum staff. We've got to do more. This cannot come back 2020 with these same results. I know that some schools that are now DA schools, they're going to do everything they can. But I'm looking at the algebra, where we have what you said, the children who are not making it and have to wait until 10th or 11th grade to start that, when you probably won't ever see geometry, or you are put in a different type of mathematics for high school. We can do better, and I'm hoping that Mrs. Clark and the staff will say, oh, we've reached out to the University of Florida all along, and this is how they're involved. I'd like to hear that. And I'm insisting that if we have not stepped out of our boundaries, that we do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. McGillen. Any further board comment? I just wanted to say thank you very much for you and your department to have all this together. As Dr. McNeely said, we've got this in color, on color graphs in front of us, and some very good news and some news that isn't as good. But it's transparent. It gives us a chance to know what direction to go with our kids. And I think I really do appreciate what I consider a very enlightening presentation. And so thank you. And thanks to all the curriculum department that was involved with this. But that's it for the workshop, and we'll see everybody at 5:30 for Assistant Superintendent Rella.